Hey guys, I'm having a quiet moment. I'm coming to you again just before bedtime. I don't know what that's about, but these days it's the perfect time for me to talk to you. So, also, it's usually the time when I start thinking about things, because that's what I do. I think a lot. Somebody made a comment about that recently. I can't remember who it was, but they said they were an overthinker, and I said, yes, me too. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about all of you guys, actually, believe it or not. I was thinking about this interesting journey I find myself on, talking to you, doing these videos, and all the things that led me down this path, right? I've been looking for the same things you've been looking for. And then I started to ask myself what that is exactly. I think in the beginning here I did a couple of videos on money. They got a few views, but it wasn't until I started doing I did a video on getting your ex back. And man, that thing is still going. People are finding it, they're loving it. It made me realize what everyone is hungry for, right? You guys are coming to me with, not with money issues, you're coming to me with love issues. And I realized, it hit me, what people want more than anything is love. And to be loved, right? So think about that. I want you to think about that, because I've been thinking about it, and I think it's very telling and it's very important. It's very important for you to understand that, for all of us to understand that. But, you know, it got the wheels going a little bit further, and I realized the people you're after want the same thing you want, don't they? If everybody wants love, well, then so do they. If everybody wants to be loved, then so do they, right? Isn't that interesting? Think about that for a minute, because there was somebody I wanted back. It got me down this whole journey, you know. I manifested them to begin with because I was getting into law of attraction and all that stuff, and it worked until it didn't. And I had to ask myself, well, what the hell happened, right? I had a bit of a personal crisis, which caused me to explore even further and read even more and think about this stuff even more. And in the same boat most of you guys are in, really. But it's led me down this interesting path to be able to be on the other side of this equation, to be someone who sort of gives back a little bit. You know, the knowledge I've gained and the experiences I've had, right? But what does that mean, really? It's giving me the ability and the opportunity to kind of have a perspective on the situation, and even on my own situation that I didn't have before, right? So this is it's made for some interesting nighttime brain activity. But that's the important thing I want to say to you right now. And why I'm making this video. And I realize it's not very structured, but really it just came into my head. So I had to think a little bit about what I was going to say here. But I think what I want to say, and this is a very important point, because some of the comments I've gotten have that tinge of sort of competitiveness, or maybe a little bit of, well, we've talked about neediness and we've talked about desperation, but maybe there's even a tinge of anger and resentment in there too. You know, I think somebody left a comment like, well, but I want them to contact me, and, you know, it has this competitive feel to it. And I've definitely been in those shoes as well. I've wanted her to contact me, and I'm not going to do it first, and I want it to be this way, and I want her to come crawling back, and why can't I have that? And, you know, I realize that's the ego getting in the way, right? And it's my ego getting in the way because it's thinking purely about the one half of the equation, which is my half of the equation, which is what I want, right? I was so concerned with what I wanted for such a long time, I didn't concern myself with what she wanted, what the other person wanted. And looking at that now, I realize that that's what was kind of keeping her at bay, or keeping the situation at bay, right? Because I was so focused on the competitiveness of the situation, that I realized that I was creating more competitiveness. Where outwardly I was saying, I love this person and I want her back because I love her, my actions, the core of what I was doing, how I was feeling and thinking and talking, was quite the opposite, right? I wasn't so much concerned with her needs. I was concerned with my needs. And it made me realize, you know, if you, one day I sat down actually, and I was sort of in the midst of still thinking about the situation and being angry and resentful and prideful about it, right? But then there was a moment, something snapped in my brain, and something came over me. And what that something was, is it was a pure feeling of love for her, or a feeling of pure love for her, unconditional love. And I remember just what it was, and it just came out of nowhere, almost like some external voice chiming in saying, hey, let me give you a taste of what you should be feeling, right? I started thinking about her, her mannerisms, her stupid giggle that I loved, and things like that, her little shy smile and things like that, and it made me smile. And I remember just this overwhelming feeling of love coming over me for her in that moment, and everything else went right out the window. My anger, my resentment, my distrust, my ego, my pride, everything went out the damn window. And just for that moment, maybe it lasted 30 seconds, maybe a minute, but it was pure, and I had this goofy smile on my face, you know? And then it passed, but I felt there was an afterglow, and I kind of went about my business, and about 15 minutes later, I got a text from her. And I remember it blew me over because I hadn't heard from her in months, right? And I thought, wow, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? I've just been given a demonstration of what sending love can do. If you want to receive love, and think about it, that's really what you want. That's why you're in this. That's why you're watching this video. That's why you're doing this. You want to feel loved. You want to be loved. Well, don't we say in this practice that you receive what you put out, right? Like attracts like. So are you giving them love? Now, I've talked a lot about giving yourself love, and that's extremely important, but there's the other side of that equation. You need to remember to also send love, right? And I've mentioned this too as well. They will receive it. What you feel about them when you think about them, they receive it, whether they're aware that's what's going on or not. Most of the time, they're probably not even aware. Whatever they're feeling, all of a sudden, if some feeling comes over them, and you come into their mind, they don't realize what it is that you're sending that out to them. You're actually communicating with them. Or maybe you haven't realized that that's what you've been doing either, but now you know, right? You know a little bit more now. You've read the books, you've watched the videos, you've done all this thinking about it. You've done the experiments. You know this is what's going on. Deep down inside, you do know that you have been communicating with them. So what are you communicating? Never mind that there's no text messaging or phone calls or physical contact right now. There is contact. You got to understand there is contact, right? Between you and your specific person. And that's very important for you to understand, because you're communicating with them as well. You're not just communicating with the universe, your higher self, God. You're also communicating with them. What you're sending out when you think about them, what you're feeling is reaching them. So you need to start being a little bit more careful about that. You need to start being a little bit more considerate of that if you want to make some progress here, right? It's very important. So what are you sending out? Are you angry? Are you still hurt and upset about whatever happened? Are you frustrated? you know, are you still pissed at them about this thing or that thing or the other thing? Maybe they really did hurt you, right? Or maybe it was a little thing, or maybe you don't even remember what happened or why you guys aren't together anymore, if it's an ex, for instance. Well, you know what? You're going to have to move on from that. Whatever it is, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to make any progress if you keep holding on to that stuff. That is resistance. And that is reaching them. That energy is reaching them. Believe it or not, it is. Trust me on this. I know from experience, I know it's reaching them. So what if you are angry? What if you are holding on to some resentment? And now you're watching this and you're thinking, damn it, well, then I guess I'm never going to get back together with them. I'm never going to manifest this thing because I can't let go of that 𝗏 So fuck it, right? Should I give up? No, you shouldn't give up. You can change that. You can remember what you loved about them. You can remember that feeling that you had for them. You can look at them purely like a child. Here's my point. I want you to practice seeing the person, your specific person, no matter what feelings that are predominant in you about them, if they're negative feelings, anger, whatever, I want you to practice thinking of them and looking at them as if they were a child. And while you're at it, look at yourself that way too. This is something I've practiced when I've tried to practice more compassion for people in general. Not just somebody that I have a romantic interest in, just people in general. Try to look at them like they were a child. Try to see them at a time when they were a child, or just try to imagine them as a child right now. And you know, if you have children of your own, or if you have children in your life, or you've just been around children, you know, right? It's hard to be angry at a kid. You can be annoyed at kids, but it's hard to be really angry at a kid. You know, hopefully most of you out there are not looking at kids going, you're a little, I hate you, I don't trust you, you're not a trustworthy person. No, we don't look at kids like that, right? You look at a kid and you understand, maybe he screws up, or maybe she's being a little loud and annoying and obnoxious, but hey, it's a kid, right? You forgive, you have a certain level of compassion for a child. That for some reason we have levels of compassion for children that we don't translate into adulthoods or our relationships or interactions with adults, or with ourselves for that matter, as we grow older, right? We don't even practice that same compassion for ourselves. And here we are trying to manifest love relationships, and we don't even know how to love. We don't know how to give love. We don't know how to give compassion and understanding and patience. These are the basic formulas of any relationship, right? Even the one you have with yourself, and that's the one you can't get away from. But, you know, think about this point. Anytime you feel a lack of compassion in yourself for somebody else, for yourself, or for your specific person, practice this idea. Practice looking at them as if they were a child, and try to understand them from that point of view, and then see the kind of love and compassion that bubbles up in you for them, and understand that that's reaching them at that moment. And even if you don't have the experience that I had where I heard from her 15 minutes later, it doesn't matter. None of that has any meaning. Don't attach any meaning to that. Just keep practicing that. You're going to find yourself becoming a much more patient person with people, much more loving and giving person. And in the end, you're in a relationship to give. Now people can say, what about me though? I should receive too. Of course you should. You're the other important half of that relationship. But understand this, if both people are giving, then by default, both people are receiving. You see, so if you're both in it to give and you're both giving unconditionally, then you're both receiving unconditionally. So it cancels itself out, right? It just takes care of itself. So focus on that. Focus on giving, because what you want is to be loved. You have to be able to love. There's no way around that, guys. okay? You can't love somebody if you're pissed at them all the time. You can't love someone if you keep rehashing their mistakes that they made in the past. That includes you, by the way. If you keep blaming yourself for things going sideways, you got to stop doing that too. All right? Treat them the way you would treat a child in terms of compassion and love and patience and understanding, and treat yourself that way too. And watch what happens. You'll change. Your view of yourself will change and improve, and your view of people will improve, and your relationships with people will improve. All right? Love thy enemy, love thy neighbor. Did Jesus say that? I don't know. I don't remember. But I'm sure some of you will know out there. I'm sure a lot of you will know out there. Words to live by, and this food for thought. This is food for thought. So I actually wasn't planning to make this video right now. I was planning to make another video soon, tomorrow or the day after, but I just had to say this to you guys right now. I'm a little tired, so I'm going to go to bed. But leave me any comments or questions that you have. Check out the description box, and let me know. Let me know how this works out for you. I'd love to hear about it, because, you know, this is a profound one. I really think this is a profound one. When you start thinking about things in these terms, I think you'll see your thinking start to shift. And this is what needs to happen. Your thinking needs to start shifting a little bit away from you and your ego, right? Go to the core. Go to your higher self on this one. Ask your higher self for this, to teach you and to show you how to love more compassionately, including the person you want back in your life. Okay? All right, guys. Y'all have a good night or good morning or wherever you may be across this great bubble of ours. Until next time, take care.